Hey, family. Welcome, welcome. I hope everybody's having a good night. We have an amazing guest tonight. We have a good show, and it's going to be really good. And I just want to let anybody know it's really, really sensitive information that is going to be discussed tonight. And if there's anything that triggers you, I just ask that if you're alone, you can dial 988 for help. It's 24 hours, or you can text. Also, if you're not alone, just talk with someone. But it's going to be a blessing. The guest, she is so wonderful. And it's really going to be a good time. So I just want to just start it by saying that it's sensitive material, and I want you guys to really, really just pay attention to yourself and anybody else that you may have invited in to see the show. Um, our guest, I just want to do a brief bio on her. Her name is Lawandca, and she is a proud 50-year-old Army veteran, mother of 3 beautiful daughters, and grandmother to 2 handsome grandsons. Born and raised in Norfolk, Virginia, she's now enjoying her life in Georgia after retiring from the federal government. She is an active member of several women's social clubs, including a respected military sorority, where she continues to uplift, empower, and connect with women who share her commitment on sisterhood. Known for her vibrant spirit, she loves dancing, crafting, shopping, and cherishing moments with her family. Life has brought her trials and heartbreak, but through her healing journey, she has emerged stronger, wiser, and more joyful than ever. Tonight, she stands before us as a living testimony of resilience, grace, and beauty of rediscovering oneself. And so we are going to bring our guest in, and I want you guys to help me welcome her. You have the comments. We're going to make her feel really good.
I'm in.
Hey,
Hi.
how are you feeling tonight?
I feel fine. I feel good. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much.
Yes, you are welcome. So I just want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for trusting me. And I just want you to know that this is a safe space. This is part of my ministry, and I am the CEO of Team Love LLC. And that stands for Truth, Empowering, Anointed Motivational Love. And so in this community, I am a mental health advocate, and I'm big on self love. And I just want you and everybody that's watching to feel comfortable. And if you haven't connected with me yet, we will go through my website and all that information later. But let's start with Miss Lawandca. So, what brought you into wanting to share your story now?
Ooh, I am 50, and for over 30 years, 40 years, I have been scarred. Childhood trauma just is here, is in my life. I live it, and I want to heal. I am probably reopening wounds for myself, but I want to close those completely. I just can't keep living in fear of everything that I went through as a child. This healing is not just for me. I'm speaking out because I want to encourage other people, women, men, whoever who has had any type of trauma when they were young, to speak. I encourage you to speak about it. What happened to them matters. So this interview is not just about me and my healing. It's about anybody else out there that I hope I will encourage and inspire them to just speak out and tell their story.
So, let me ask you, what was the emotional impact of carrying these experiences for so many years?
Um, mm, Hiding, reacting, It affected the way I love. It affected friendships, relationships. It also affected me and me raising my three daughters. So I'm like, no more, no more. I can't. So I have to speak about this. Yes, I am in therapy. I've been in therapy for decades, on and off. But now I'm in consistent therapy, which will continue to help me as I speak out about my childhood traumas.
Mhm. So I want you to begin wherever you feel led to begin.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be in any order.
Okay.
So wherever you want to start your story.
Okay. So some things that I'm gonna say, some people may know about it. Some people may not know about it. But so when I was between the ages of 3 and 5, I met a man. Um, I could tell that, I guess because I remember the cry when I met him. So I guess that was a sign that it was something that about him that just wasn't right. Later on in life, um, the man was is he's deceased now, is my mama's husband. Um, in that one particular family, there was a son, there was an uncle, and there was a stepfather. When I was 9, the son molested me. I told my mom. She reacted. Her husband at the time, which was his son, um, reacted to what happened. And then a few years later, I was in middle school, and I used to go and pick up this little girl. I was like in the 6th grade. I used to go pick up this little girl from elementary. Like I was just in the middle school, but it was fun. A good little way to make little extra coins. Um, the uncle of, well, the brother of the my mama's ex-husband, he started approaching me by like telling me to give him a hug and things like that, and he would offer me money. I told my mom, my mama told her ex-husband, and he got on to him and all that kind of stuff. So then I turned 13, and I was outside one day, and my brother would tell me, hey, such and such wants you. Our stepdaddy wanted me. And I would go inside. He started off always wanted me to stand on his back and walk on his back. He started to tell me, I carry your panties in the truck with me to drive. And I'm like, okay. I didn't understand none of that at first. I thought
Mhm.
that part was weird, but the walking on the back, I was like, okay, whatever. But then we moved away from there, and I was about 14 years old, and that's when he started asking me to perform sexual acts with him um on numerous occasions from the ages of 14 until about let me see, I was 17. Out of all of the molestations with him, all of the rapes with him, I have a child. My oldest daughter came. I had no choice at that point. I was between the ages of 14 and 17. I had been pregnant 4 times. I had 3 abortions, and he took me to every last one of those appointments, and I had my daughter. I couldn't have another abortion. So I had to have her. And she knows about this. She's been very supportive about me sharing this story. It needs to be told. I think it's going to release a lot from me that I have not disclosed to anyone. Um, it's been rough. It's been rough with relationships. I had a rough 4 years in high school. It was crazy. Like, I know I could have done a lot better had I not gone through all of what I had was going through. I had people that was in the administration that I feel um, that knew about some things or had some type of suspicion, because this stepfather would send me flowers to school roses, all kind of stuff. And nobody said anything. They just allowed this stepfather to bring me flowers. In high school, ain't nobody else getting flowers on the regular day for Halloween. Why am I getting flowers? I feel like somebody should have said something. Somebody, I mean, I understand. No, I don't understand. Somebody should have said something. Um, it was a lot of things that transpired while I was in high school. I feel like people saw but did not say anything, and that was and I'm talking about some of my teachers, coaches, and the administration that worked in the office. You know, it. I had a really hard life. I got talked about some things. I don't know what particular things, but I got a lot of looks because I think people just knew something, but they didn't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame anybody but the people who done those things to me, because it impacted my life in the worst ways. I know some people look at me and be like, oh, you're living your life, you don't look like you this, you don't look like you that, but you just never know what people go through. You just never know. I don't know that I could say, oh, I know such and such over here, such and such over here got a baby by their stepfather. I mean, that alone by itself is, and my daughter is 33 and I love her to death. I wouldn't trade her for nothing in the world.
Amen to
Um,
that.
what made me tell, I went to school. I was going to a pregnant school when I was in high school, in Virginia. And I went to my principal and I went to her office and I asked her, I said, what do you do? Okay, at this time, I had already had my baby. She was born in October of 92, and I was turning 18 in January of 93. So in December, I went to my principal's office and I asked her, what should I do if I know somebody who was being raped and molested by their stepfather. She told me she told me, gave me some words to like tell them what to do. 2 weeks later, I went back to her office and told her it was me. The reason why I ended up going back 2 weeks and telling her that it was me, because we had a game that night I never forget. And at this, I'm a teenager, I'm 17 now, so I was looking at a little boy and little boy's looking at me. You know, it was halftime, I'm walking around, but I think the stepfather, he was looking at me so hard that he didn't like the fact that I was looking at other little boys and they was looking at me. So after that game, that's one of the times that he hit me in the face, pulling out knives and guns, and he always told me that I couldn't tell nobody, I wouldn't tell nobody. But that was the final straw for me. I didn't want to get hit no more. I didn't want to get raped anymore. I didn't want to get fussed at about nothing. He would, I mean, it was crazy. This is in no order right here, but he would leave notes under the door, like if my mom was going somewhere, like you better stay here and stuff like that. So I was young, I was scared, and I was scared that, if I said anything, that I was trying to be safe and keep
Mm-hmm.
everybody else around me to be safe.
And you
Um,
were so young.
yes,
Mm-hmm. Let me
very.
ask you a question.
Hmm.
Looking back, what did the younger version of you need,
I needed,
that you think would have helped you,
I
that you
needed,
didn't receive?
I needed more love, more hands-on from family members, my relatives. I needed the men in my life to see things. I needed the women in my life to see things, and somebody to just be there for me and just pay attention to me. That's what I say now. These days, you have to pay attention to your kids. Like,
Yes.
if my daughter, any one of my daughters was in high school and they was receiving some flowers from some old man, I don't care who he is. I'm asking all the questions. I'm going to school. I need them to tell me when the next time that person delivers some flowers, you need to call me to the office too. Don't just call my daughter to pick up the flowers, because she should not be receiving no flowers from no grown-ups unless I send them, or
Right.
their father or whatever. But I needed love. I needed consistency. And the kind of love that I was shown, that wasn't love. That was just, it was hate. It was, I will say this, um before the man is dead, the stepfather is dead. He's deceased. I think I don't know about 8 years now. I think um, when he was dying, he did reach out to me through his niece. He apologized and asked me to forgive him, but I told him I already forgave him. But that doesn't mean that I'm still not scarred. Like I feel like he ruined my life. I'm not saying I'm in a bad place right now, but I had hopes and dreams of doing other things. You know, we all do as little kids. We dream of doing this and we want to do that. And he took everything away. I didn't want to be a teen mom. You know, I just
Mhm.
wanted to cheerlead and be a majorette and go to. I wanted to join the Air Force. You know, but the Air Force was like, no, you need somebody to adopt your child, and I didn't want nobody to adopt my daughter. So the Army took me in and just, I was just able to give someone my mom custody. But it was a lot of things that I wanted to do that I just didn't get to do as a child. I didn't have a childhood. My childhood was staying in the house. If a lot of people remember, I didn't do a lot of things. I went to the basketball games. I was allowed to cheer. That was my outing. I was allowed to cheer. I was allowed to be in the band. I was a majorette and a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader for 4 years, and I was a majorette for 2 years. Not too many cheerleaders. I don't know any that was on the squad that was doing both. I was allowed to do both. And I
Mm.
always wondered why. And it always just brings me back to I feel like my coach at that time, she knew. She allowed this man. We had competition, cheer competitions. We went to state champs one year. I can't remember what year it was. I was not pregnant at that time, but we went to state champs one time, and we was in Charlottesville, and the cheerleaders supposed to stay with the cheerleaders, in their room. And I got a call. Your stepfather is here. You need to go stay with him. So that's
Mm.
how come I feel like some of them had to have known. Why would you allow me to go and stay with this man when all the other cheerleaders they in the room together? I want to stay with them too. I want to stay with him.
Right, and it's like a village, when we send our
Mhm.
children to school, we expect them to be protected by their teachers, by the administration,
Mhm.
and not to give any excuses. But parenting and education, it doesn't come with a handbook, right?
Mhm.
We just do the best that we know how to do. A lot of times we'll look back at what our parents did, and
Mhm.
sometimes we'll pick and choose and say, okay, I'm going to do this with my child, or I'm not going to do this with my child. Or sometimes we don't even think about it and we just do everything that we saw our parents and our grandparents do,
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like the administration, they probably saw things, but sometimes we say what, just turn the other cheek, or don't want to get involved. But I feel like that is a duty. As
Mhm.
an educator, anybody that's dealing with children, like, we have an obligation to them if we see something,
Mhm.
not to pass judgment or to um assume, but just watch, ask questions. I was in early childhood education for 18 years, and we examine them babies when they come in. We look at them before they leave, to make sure nothing happened to them. So yeah, I definitely feel your pain and your thoughts on that. Let me ask you, when you joined the military, were you looking to escape from something, or were you looking to gain something new? Like, what were your thoughts when you joined the military?
Something had happened that wasn't related to me, but that was at that point when I joined, because I joined at 23. That point I was like, oh yes, this is my time. I have to go. I picked I didn't study for the abs fab, whatever that test is. I didn't study
Mhm.
for nothing. I took the first job that they gave me, and and the job was a truck driver. And I wonder, I'm like, God, why is this job? Because I didn't do well on my abs fab. I didn't want to take it again either. I was like, I need to get out of here. The man was still out. He was around, and and lurking everywhere. And it's like everywhere I when I saw him, he was scary to me. He was scary to me, even though I know I was an adult at that time. I still was so scared of him. And it's not one day to go by that I don't think about something that happened, because it's so many things out here in this world that triggers me, but it was an escape. I had to go. And the reason why I said, why did God give me that job? And it's because I was like, I'm I felt like I was almost still connected to my stepfather, because he drove trucks. And I was like, people gonna think that knew, and that was me thinking back then. People gonna think I wanted this job because of him, and that is not even the case at all. I don't know if anybody ever thought that, but that's what I was thinking at that time. That wasn't the case. That my reason for taking that job is because I didn't want to wait. I wanted to go in 4 weeks, and I was gone in 4 weeks. I signed up in March, and I was gone in April. So it was definitely an escape. And then it seemed like things didn't get better. Things didn't get better because even in the military, I was raped.
Mm.
The first time it was okay. Let me back up. Before I joined the military, and even in the beginning of my military career, I all I knew was sex. All I knew was I'm supposed to give it up. I just knew that that's the only thing I knew. It didn't matter. So if I was supposed to give it up, I just gave it up. Um, and so when I got in the military, I got to my first duty station, and I never told anybody to what happened. The first person, I don't even really know if I want to call that a rape, but in my mind I was saying no. It was just I couldn't get it out. I just let him do what he wanted to do, and he recorded it and then put me out his barracks room. I didn't tell nobody because I was like, nobody gonna believe me. Some people that I grew up with, they don't know why I I I would say kind of out there like that. They don't know that that's all I knew. That is all I knew. Had I not known that, I wouldn't have been like how I was. I'm not saying I was a bad person, but I didn't know anything else but to have sex with me. And I thought that was just the way that's what you're supposed to do. You got to think the first time I was introduced to a penis, I was 9 years old.
You went in there with the unhealed trauma,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
from your childhood, and that was the majority. Well, not even the majority. It was like your entire
Mm-hmm.
childhood,
Yep.
really to 17. And so, like you said, that's what you knew.
Mm-hmm.
When you went in there, you could have got help in there, but then as soon as you get in there, you're introduced to the same thing that you endured for your whole childhood. So you went
Mm-hmm.
in there with unhealed trauma,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how sometimes, people relate PTSD to just to military.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not true,
Mm-hmm.
and for those that may be watching that may or may not know, PTSD stands for post traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And that has nothing to do with just solely the military. Anything that we go through traumatic, we go through that. And then when we don't get healed, and then something else traumatic happens in our lives, it just compounds and we just have one
Mm-hmm.
trauma on top of the other. And that's where the word complex PTSD comes from,
Yep.
especially in our communities, back it's starting to open up now. And but back then, it was just taboo. You don't talk about it. You're not
Mm-hmm.
depressed, you're a child, you don't know what depression is, right?
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
you just hold it in. Anything that happens in the family stays in the family. Anything that
Right.
happens in the house stays in the house. and
Right.
and that's how we were raised. And I'm just so thankful and blessed. For me myself, I think it started opening up during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Us just being in isolation, we were scared. Unless you were, I don't know the exact age, maybe like 75 and older, experienced the Spanish flu pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And so they knew a little bit, but it wasn't even as severe as COVID. So the majority of us, we were scared. We
Mm-hmm.
couldn't go outside. People were dying. And so it was. so much isolation. And I think that's when people really started to open up and talk about depression. The babies were depressed, they were missing their friends,
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't go to school. And so, yeah, I'm just so thankful that, because it was always a prayer of mine that we start talking about mental health. It
Mm-hmm.
was just always
Yes.
something I wanted to, because I've seen depression in my family. There was times when I was depressed. I know after I had my daughter, I had depression, and I didn't know. You know,
Mm-hmm.
none of that stuff was discussed. Postpartum depression and things like that. So, yeah,
Yep.
I'm sorry that happened to you in the military, because I'm sure you was using that as a place to escape.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, just get away. Try to do something for yourself. You had your daughter. And
Mm-hmm.
so, from that, let me ask you, how do you feel like it shaped your relationships, um, like with your daughters, motherhood, significant others? How do you feel like the emotional part of what you went through shaped your relationships?
So it's kind of sad. I'm just now really getting to the place and space where I can actually tell my kids I love them and try to inspire them and encourage them to do things and not like yell and scream and stuff like that. But at one point, one of my daughters, she struggled because she didn't get that love from me. She did tell me, one of my daughters did tell me, she felt like, because I didn't get the help that I needed to get at that time, going through whatever I went through, that I wasn't loving her properly and showing her affection properly. So it was, even though I tried to explain to her, I wasn't at the point where I am now, where I can really be open and honest. I know that I did not get. I know that people in my family love me, but I didn't get that I love you, the hugs and the stuff like that. So, and it was rough for a while. But I think now the older that I get, and the older that my children get, they understand now that if I didn't tell them that I didn't love them or hug them enough, it was not because I didn't, because I'm head over heels for my kids. Anybody know me know it. I love my daughters and my grandsons to death. But it was hard because I know I wasn't giving them what they needed and what they wanted when they was a lot younger. So I'm glad that I am in a better place now. I'm not where I want to be, but I hope they can see the steps that I'm taking to show them that I love them. And
And
to, by,
I'm sure
Mhm,
they do. And,
mhm,
like you said, we never will get to a place where we're totally healed, because
mhm,
there's no such thing as perfection. That would be perfection.
right.
But we
I
can start
agree.
healing. There's areas in our journey where we can be healed in one area, but there's always going to be something that we can improve.
Mhm.
Um, was there ever a moment where you felt like you hit rock bottom?
Um, um, yes, when I had to escape, I feel like I was hostage. Um, this was after I had told, and the authorities knew and all that kind of stuff. The man went to jail for a little bit. He did not go to jail for a long time because we had, like, I guess it's a public defender, uh the people that defend you from court. I don't know what they call, but those
Mhm.
people, we didn't have no money to pay for no lawyer, and I don't think they worked hard for me to get some justice served. So he did go to jail on that night that I told. Um, and he went to jail. Then he got out, but I think a total time he probably was in jail maybe a year. I went less than 2 years,
Mm.
and he was out. And he just used to stalk us a lot. But what hit rock bottom is when he got out, he made his stuff. He used to break in the house. I remember one time he would be in the closet, and we would be in the house. Me and my mom and my brother and my oldest daughter would be in the house, and she was young. I don't even think she was walking then, or maybe she was walking, but she was tiny. Um, he would be in the closet just hiding. Like, and then scare us to death. I remember running out one time and I'm just like, oh my God, I had on heels, I had the baby on the hip, and I'm just like, this was crazy. But it's one particular time when I was just like done. I felt like he was gonna, I was already 18, but I had and we was in the house, and he made himself move back in the house. He followed my mom one day when she was taking my little cousins to school, and then it's like he followed her and made himself come back in the house, and it was like we was held hostage, but I couldn't do it anymore. I had my brother girlfriend at the time. I told her I needed to leave. I got to get out of this situation. And I called one of my good friends that I cheered with, and I said, "Can you meet me here? I need a ride to my grandmama's house." And my brother's girlfriend, she packed up a bag. She went and got a trash bag, like a big brown trash bag, and we lived out Roberts Park at that time. And in the trash bag, I put me like one pair of jeans, and I put like my baby stuff in there. And she said, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna act like I'm taking this to the trash. When I get to the trash, I'm gonna run. She was gonna run to her house, and then that's when my other friend was gonna be there to get my bag and get me. So my part was to walk outside as if I'm just walking outside just to see what's going on. I was 18. My daughter was she wasn't one yet, I don't think, at that time. But so she was a hip baby, and I had a bottle in my hand and had her on the other side, and I walked out of the house, but I was so scared. Like, if he see me walking out the door, and then if he see me cross the street to go get in his car, I just knew my life was gonna be over at that point. But it didn't. It wasn't. I went to my grandma's house, and I never went back in there. But he stayed. He was abusive to my mom. I know that. I saw that after the fact, and he held her hostage to where she didn't, couldn't come outside or none of that kind of stuff. I remember going to check on her, and she only could talk through the windows because he wouldn't
Mm.
want her to open the door and stuff like that. So I was glad. I don't know. I can't remember how my mom got out of that situation, but even when he got made himself out of the house, he still was like, he would park his cars by the railroad track behind our house. He would stand on the railroad tracks and just watching. I mean, my mama tried to go date again, and he would bust in the house when he saw somebody come over there. I mean, it was crazy. I swear I was living the lifetime movie. I was like, this stuff don't happen for real, but I lived that, and I see that it happened, and it was crazy. So that was the final straw. I didn't want him to touch me no more. And I felt that he was gonna start back trying to do something to me, and I was like, no, not no more. So I left, and I never went back. Those neighborhoods that I lived in growing up, they are non-existent anymore. They tore them down, and I'm so glad for
Mm.
that reason, because it was so many memories between those two neighborhoods, too many bad memories. And people always ask me, would you move back? No, I would just go back
Mhm.
to visit. As long as my mama there, I go back to visit. But she'd come here with me, because I don't have to go
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
It was rough. For what?
When yeah, when you think about healing today, what does that look like for you at 50?
Setting boundaries, learning how to love, um, speak my mind tactfully and the way how I need it to come across, not trying to protect anybody else's. You know, I don't need a bunch of people to do this and do that with me, or to agree with me. Because this is me. I have to live my life. But I have to have peace, but healing is more therapy. Learning how to love, learning how to be a little bit more affectionate with my children and in my relationship. Um, so I mean, I'm just for total healing. Like you said, I don't believe that there is such thing as a complete healing either, but you can be healed from some things. I'll never be completely healed as long as there's a newspaper, some trucks, McDonald's biscuits, because those things triggers. The color of black pants, this a trigger. Some people may think, oh, black pants, Yeah, McDonald's biscuits, yes, because it was so many times where he would go get McDonald's biscuits, and we had to help him. Me and my brother would have to help him deliver newspapers, and it just smelled McDonald's biscuits and newspaper early in the morning trying to deliver them. It I just associate that with him, and it's not a good smell, and it gets sick to my stomach. But I don't go around telling nobody don't eat no McDonald's. Now I want you to not. If you're around me, don't be like, oh no, I can't get a McDonald's. No, get your McDonald's. That's what you like. Just know that I ain't gonna eat none. And I think I am at a point where I do recognize some of my triggers, and so I don't um I don't react like all crazy. It's just I know how to breathe, and if I need to take that minute or walk away, I know how to do that, and I know how to tell myself things to keep calm and to not like have anxiety or go into a panic attack about things like that. So
Yeah. What resources did you use to help you begin the healing process?
of course, therapy, reading other people's stories, believe it or not, other people's stories that I've read and that I've heard, like by people just talking. Because when you start talking to people, some people, if they feel comfortable with you, they'll start to share their story or something about their story. And the more I talk about it, the more I hear. But definitely therapy, um, and just living, not being scared, facing my fears, facing the triggers, not avoiding, because as long as you avoid, you're not going to heal. I have to talk about it. Every time I talk about it, there's a little bit more healing.
That comes off
Mm-hmm.
of you.
Mm-hmm.
And back to the triggers, what you said, I think that's big too, that you recognize your triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just speaking volumes for you. You know
Mm-hmm.
that you want that healing. You're moving forward in that healing.
Mm-hmm.
To know yourself, um, not only to set boundaries for others, but to set boundaries for yourself. Like you said, with them triggers, you're not going to tell anybody else they can't eat
Right.
McDonald's, right? I mean, I might do that sometimes, but 'cause I'm not a fan of McDonald's, but no, let me be serious. But
Mm.
just knowing your triggers,
Yes.
that speaks volumes, and I'm proud of you for that.
Yes.
Because we got to recognize the triggers. Because if you don't, that's I think how we become an emotional wreck.
Right.
Because you might be having a bad day or be in a bad mood, and like you said, you may take it out on your daughters, or you may not be as nice as you should be, but maybe something triggered you and you didn't know. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why you're that way. So I think it's important that we communicate. Communication is the biggest thing in healthy relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
so, if you and your daughters have that relationship where y'all communicate,
Yes.
that helps too, because then they can
Mm-hmm.
understand and just don't internalize it. And, oh, mom is mean, or,
Yep.
mom did this. But, you using your voice and getting your story out and sharing it with them it's a good place,
Yes.
for you and your daughters. And
Yes.
so I know you all will get through this
Mm-hmm.
together.
Yep.
What is one thing you would tell a woman or someone watching this show that may be living in silence? What is some advice that you could give
Um, some things I would say is I know it's scary when you start talking, or you feel like you want to tell somebody, but the more you talk and when you tell somebody, each time you feel a little bit freer. You feel a little bit more free. You won't be all healed, but you pulling the band-aid off a little bit more to where you can close up those wounds. I would say that. And then I wrote down a few little things that I was just thinking out loud. Sometimes, you might think that, if you're living in silence, um, for us and for me, it was a survival skill. Now I have shared my story not in full detail, to people in my past, and sometimes it has been used against me. My pain has been used against me, and I pray that on today, that just because I'm telling my story, that is not used against me. Don't use my pain and use it against me at all. So I would just say, learning to use your voice. It gets easier. It gets easier. So don't be
them?
afraid. Find somebody that you can trust. Find somebody that you feel comfortable with, even if it's a stranger. Or I will also say, write it down, because I used to write down a lot of things, and then I wouldn't go back and read it, but I just would write it down. Every little thing helped me. Um, but everything that happened to you, if something happened to you, you know, it matters. Don't think that it don't matter. It don't matter how big or small. There's no comparisons. If you hurt and you experience trauma, that's your trauma. That's your trauma, and it matters too. It matters, and you matter too. So I would say that. I will say healing is possible. You just have to go through it at your own pace. Can't nobody tell you um what to do or how to do it. They can make suggestions, but until you ready, don't feel forced. You have to be ready.
Mhm.
You have to is you I don't know what it takes for you to make you say, oh, I need to tell. But don't, I would say, please just don't keep living in your silence. If you're younger than me and you're hearing this story and you have kids or don't have kids, stay involved in your children's life. I know my one of my child kids daughters will tell you, I ain't let her go nowhere. I was so scared to let her go different places because I was looking at her like she's developing, you know. I didn't want nobody. I was very protective, you know, by letting them just go all over the world and stuff like that with people. But just learn how to survive the way you need to learn how to survive. But
Mhm.
healing is possible, and it's you will heal. I mean, I'm right here with you. So.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. We can't go back, and erase
Mhm.
or redo things. Once we know better, we can do better.
Mhm.
Because just in you saying some of the things you said, you are helping me. Um, because I was just thinking back, and I was like, "Sheesh!" Like nothing like that happened to me. I've had trauma in my life, but different trauma. We all have a
Mhm.
story.
Mhm.
And so my trauma wasn't sexual, but I did experience like emotional, mental, some really deep things. But looking back at you saying that, I didn't let my daughter be a cheerleader. Like certain things she couldn't do,
Yeah.
because I was just always thinking, okay, there's going to be men, at the games and stuff. And so I probably traumatized her. So if you're watching, I'm sorry you didn't get to be a cheerleader. Just dress up for a cheerleader for next Halloween. No, let me be serious. But yeah, I thank you for using your voice. I thank you for sharing your story.
Yes.
That's the reason I have this platform is so we can be a community. We need a community. Like you said, we need
Mhm.
people we can talk to that we can trust. Um, for me, it's not about clout. It took me
Mhm.
years. I would do it behind the scenes, but it took me years, years, years to actually build this platform. Um, God gave me this purpose, this calling. I first discovered it in like 2009.
Mhm.
I actually started out blogging
Uh-huh.
because I have conversations with God, and I'm like, okay, I'll do this or I'll do that, or I backtrack. And so this platform is like my baby. It's means the world to me, not for me, but who God connects to me, because we need these safe spaces. We need community. We
Yes.
have to have our tribe. I always say we need family. Family is important,
Mhm.
but a lot of times our families, our relatives, it could be the worst. And that's
Mhm.
just because we don't have healing. It's not
Mhm.
because they're bad people, because we all have something we're going through. But, when we have the secrets and we cover it up and we don't get the healing we need, it makes our family sometimes be the worst place.
Right.
Because I think a lot of times we have toxic relationships and we just endure because it's family. We were taught blood is thicker than water. Um, and so, we need communities. And so that's why I have this platform. And I'm thankful that you were courageous enough to come and share your story and
Mhm.
hope that, somebody, I'm sure I've been trying to peek at the comments a little bit, but it's definitely blessing people by you
That's
sharing
good.
your story because your voice matters, your story matters, you matter. Your
Yes.
children matter, your grandchildren matter. And so, yeah, I'm just thankful that you felt safe enough to let me give you this space to share your story.
Yes, me too. Thank you. I'm glad you decided to do it. And the process leading up to this, when I first, approached you about it, you was happy enough. You was like, let's talk about it. Let's do this. And you've been on point, as they say in the military, dress right, dress. You've been you've been on point ever since. And you made it easier for me. You checked on me throughout the day, gave me some suggestions to do. And I did try to take a nap, but it wouldn't allow me to. But it's so crazy because I believe that God been with me the whole time. He's still with me, but the enemy knows when you're trying to change and when you're trying to heal. So the enemy was on me too since 3 o'clock this morning. But I was like,
Oh,
you're not
yeah.
gonna win. You are not gonna win. So that's what we have to tell ourselves. You just gotta say no. No, you're not gonna win. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, it doesn't matter what anybody think. And I agree with you. It's not. I'm not doing this for any clout, any likes, or somebody to call me and be crying about it. Because guess what? I'm not crying. I've cried enough. I even shedded tears last night. I was so mad just thinking about some of the stuff that happened. I was just like, why, So I got all that out last night, and I came, and I'm glad that God, just helped me with my words, helped me to get my feelings out the way I needed to get them out, and I just pray that it bless. If it's just blessed with one person,
One
I'm
person.
happy. And I pray that if anybody is going through any of this and they feel like they need to share, I hope I have encouraged them and let them know that it's okay. I don't feel um, like something's going to happen to me right now. I actually feel very fine. Like, I feel really good about doing it because I needed this and I want to heal. That's the main thing. I want to heal. I cannot just be I done lived a half a century. I just had to say that. I don't want to live no more like in the darkness or just dead in the inside and then covering up. I don't want to do that anymore.
Hmm. Healing's not pretty, you know.
Mm-mm.
It's not pretty. Um, it takes truth. Our healing
Mm-hmm.
starts with truth. Until we can be truthful with ourselves, that healing is never going to start.
Yeah.
Um, we put it to the side sometimes, or like you said, you might look like everything is good. You might be smiling and laughing, but on the
Mm-hmm.
inside, you're not healed. And until we can face those truths, that's when it starts. But it's not pretty. Trust me. I
It's
know
not.
it's not pretty to yourself. It's not pretty when your truth involves other people,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe in the family you have to share, and people don't understand, and we will shrink ourselves to make other people happy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but you have to get to a point, like you said, when you're ready for that true healing, that freedom, living who you truly authentically are. It's going to start with truth,
Yes.
um, and 9 times out of 10 it's going to affect our families, or
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be something surrounding our families, because it's childhood traumas.
Yes.
And so there's no way to get around that. Is everybody going to tell their story on a platform? Maybe not. Um, but however you see fit. I know I've shared my story in 3 books I've
Mm-hmm.
written. I've shared my story on my platform. And so it just depends on what that looks for other people. I know earlier you mentioned too about writing.
Mm-hmm.
Journaling is big.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've written letters to people, and you don't even have to give them to the people. Just write them.
Mm-hmm.
You can write them and keep them. You can write them and tear them up. I've written letters and burned them up.
Uh-huh.
Pray and burn them up. And so there's like so many different things that you can do for your healing process. I think therapy is good.
Yes.
I'm in therapy. I went hard for 3 years, and got to a place where my therapist released me. She's like, okay, she's like, you got the tools, go.
Right.
And that was like a year and a half ago.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so now, I go as needed. I think we all need that. But again, it just depends on when the person is ready. If they
Right.
ever, try it. I tell people if you do, don't quit with the first one, because you do
Exactly.
have to find that perfect match. Um,
Exactly.
it's just like a doctor or anything else. Because a lot of times people will try and be like, nah, this is not for me.
Right. Right.
But it took me three different therapists. Two
Okay.
I was with for the longest. The first one didn't last that long at all.
Mhm.
But the other two, I was with one. We got to a place where I think we outgrew each other.
Mhm.
Nothing bad happened. And then
Mhm.
the one that I have now, I'm with, and I do like an annual check-in unless
Okay.
there's something that I really need to talk about.
Right.
But yeah, we need something. We need somebody.
We do.
And if there's any guys watching this show, I just want to say, like, guys have my heart. I love everybody, but guys really have my heart because I feel like women, we have
Mhm.
it's easier for us to get community,
Mhm.
right? We
Mhm.
have sisterhoods, we have things. Men don't, they suffer in silence so much.
Right. Mhm.
And so my platform is not just for women, it's for women and men.
Good. Yeah.
Because Auntie Ree loves the men. I do.
Everybody. Yes.
I love everybody, but yeah, when I do some of my stuff, that's why I say niece and nephew.
Oh yeah.
Um, because I love my man and I want my men to be part of the community. So if
Yeah.
there's any women that are watching and y'all have men in your lives, hook them
Mhm.
up with Auntie
Put
Ree
them up.
because
Right.
I do. I have a special place in my heart for the men, because our Black men, they go through a lot.
And
Um,
they matter too. They
and
really
they
do.
matter too.
They go through
Yeah,
a
they
lot.
matter too.
Mhm.
I have a
Yeah.
husband, a brother, we all have men in our lives.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do. I care about the men too. So,
Yeah.
is there anything else you want to share before we get ready to wrap it up?
No, I would like to add that I'm a very transparent and open book person. If anybody, feel like they got a question that they want to ask, even after when we disconnect from the live, they can reach out to me. I do not mind answering the questions. I'm not mentioning any names. Some people probably already know who I'm talking about when I said certain things, but um, I'm just glad that I did this. I'm happy that I did this. So
It was in
I
your
thank you.
timing. It was
Yes,
in
it was.
your timing when you
Yep.
felt ready to do it, and people are going to be blessed from it. Do you want to share like your social media handles if anybody wants to reach out to you?
Um, I think all of my social media is
It's
just
the
look me
same.
up. It's the same. Lawandca Sutton. I think that's what it is on Instagram too. I don't know them other ones. I'm like, what's the other one? TikTok. I don't even be on TikTok that much unless somebody send me a video. But if you need my phone number, send me a message. Just look me up on Facebook and send me a message or whatever. But yeah, I don't.
Okay, you have Messenger connected
Yes.
on
Hmm.
Facebook. Okay,
Yes.
okay, yeah. So someone could reach out to you that way. And
Mm-hmm.
then I just want to say, for anybody that's watching, if you're not a part of my community, please feel free. I am Auntie Ree is all my socials.
Mm-hmm.
On YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to my page yet, please subscribe, like this video, and my website is www.coachwithauntieree.com. I have a contact form on there. So if you fill out that contact form, you can get in touch with me that way. I actually have some really good resources on there for counseling. I have a self love quiz on there that you can take. It's real short and personal, but you got to be honest with yourself and see where
Mm-hmm.
you are. Um, One thing I will say too before we go is my focus for myself and all of us is wholeness. We can't work on everything at one time. But what I would say is whatever area I'd say you score yourself the lowest in, start with that area. We
Mm-hmm.
have spiritual, emotional, mentally, physically, financially, and socially.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the 5 areas that I focus on. Um, I didn't really announce myself at the beginning of the show because I was so anxious and ready for you to come on. But I am a transformational speaker, a spiritual life coach, and an author. And my community is about self love and mental health. I am a mental health advocate. I am not a doctor, a therapist, or a psychologist, but I am a lover of love and I love people. And yeah, so connect with me on my website and fill out that contact form and we can stay connected. And then also, I have a Zoom meeting coming up. It's going to be special. It's only going to be for the people that's in the community. So if you are not connected, get connected. It's going to be on December the 29th. And I'm going to give more details on my socials. December the 29th is a Monday at 7 o'clock. It'll probably be like a little 30-minute Zoom call. But yeah, it's going to be something special for the
That's
community.
good.
Going into 2026, I want us to be connected, stay connected. And if you feel like this is a safe space and a good place for you, then I would love to have you be a part of my community. And I always say we can grow and glow together.
Yes.
Because that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do this thing alone. Everybody needs somebody.
Yes.
And so, yeah, this is the safe space. So
Yes.
I will let y'all know all those announcements. And like I said, save the date, December the 29th. And then there's going to be another date that leads after that is going to be, I think, January the 9th.
Okay.
But I'm going to know for sure. I will let y'all know December the 29th. But
Okay.
January the 9th, that's going to be a special Zoom too. That's going to be an event.
Okay.
And I will let you guys know on December 29th when we do the Zoom.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but yeah, so you guys reach out to Lawandca if you have any questions for her. You can reach out to me. Thank you, sis, so much. I love you.
I love
Continue
you too.
your healing journey.
Yes, thank you.
You can always reach out to me anytime.
Yes.
I'm very transparent too, so I'm big sis. Auntie don't have no shame in her game. Because all that I've been through, y'all. Look, I'm getting ready to be 57 in April, and yeah, so I'm big sis, big sis, and I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Continue your journey. Don't let anything distract you. You know, if anything comes out about this afterwards, any negativity, just
we don't want
brush it off.
Right.
You know, because this was for you, your daughters and your grandsons.
Yes.
And so I would love to have you back again sometime next year and give us an update.
Yes.
Give us an update. Let us know how it's going. And we can celebrate together. But thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you.
Yes. Everybody have a good night.
Thanks for
tuning in. Oh, Merry Christmas if y'all celebrate if y'all celebrate Christmas or what else? Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, all that good stuff.
All of that. Yep. Thank you.
All right. Auntie loves y'all.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.